Anand Anand, for those who don't know it, as a very reputed national firm that deals with IP law, IP litigation, filing and prosecution. Mr. Bharat started his career in the June of 2001 with Anand Anand as an associate. Bharat rose to be the youngest partner in the year 2007 and has been a key member in the firm's practice before the IP Appellate Board. He moved to the city of Chennai in June 2009 to lead the firm's city practice, catering to the southern states of India. His practice includes IP litigation before Indian courts, oppositions, cancellations, and other related proceedings before the Trademark Office, Intellectual Property Appellate Board, and Copyright Board. He has been the lead counsel in numerous trademark appeals, rectifications, and original proceedings before the IPAB, with several reported decisions to his credentials. The IPAB is a forum which I think you can also describe better. Is a forum where you can appeal against decisions of the Intellectual Property Office, either the Trademark or the Copyright or Patent Office. In August of 2009, representing Samsung, he successfully concluded the first ever proceeding under the IP Right Imported Goods Enforcement Rules of 2007. The matter involved 5 different writ proceedings, each of which challenged the powers of the customs officials and procedures of appeals arising on orders therefrom. His noted publication, A Sip of India's Well-Brewed Trademarks Act, Great Indian Flavor in Asia Law, January 2004, and Trade Secrets in Pharmaceutical Industry are noteworthy. More about him is available in your booklet. I now invite Mr. Bharat.
Good afternoon, friends. I believe most of you are from the science background. Yeah? Probably in crossroads of taking up a new job or profession somewhere. How many of you are part of any corporation already? Okay. How many of you are still individual research scientists or doctorate students? Okay, excellent. Well, last of science I studied was in class 10. So it's way, way beyond my recent past memory of what science is all about. But what I do is, I do litigate matters which are relating to science. That means wherever there is a patent involved or a trademark involved, if 2 companies or parties are fighting, I take them to the court. One party fights against the other and we try to render justice and make money in the way. Well, intellectual property, as they say, is not a very old term. It was sometime in 1985 or 1990 used by a judge in his judgment. Before that, it was called industrial property. Industrial property is something where you manufacture it by an industrial process. Over a period of time, this included trademarks and designs. I'm going to explain what the basics of intellectual property are. And after that, it extended to patents. And patents got extended to a lot of biotech industries and where you are interested in. So intellectual property is nothing but any property which is intangible. If you buy a property in, say, OMR, it's a flat, it's an apartment. You can go live in it, but you can touch it. Any other asset which is not touchable, as an intangible, it is created by the mind or the intellect, is called intellectual property. Quickly moving on, IP strategy, I'm sure, would have been covered in the earlier part of the day. I'm going to quickly run through it and say that whenever you are running a company, you need to have an audit of what intellectual property systems you have so that you know whether you have a brand or a patent or whatever. And then you need to register it because there are certain properties, for example, patents and designs, unless and until you register, they are not enforceable. For example, trademarks can be enforced and copyright can be enforced even without filing an application, right? But patents and design, without filing an application, if you disclose your invention to a third party, your invention is dead, right? So you need to file an application to protect your rights. And then commercialize it. How to make money? Just because you have an apartment, you lock it up, you don't make money. You need to rent it out to make money, or you need to live in so that you don't pay rent to others. Therefore, to make money out of your intangible asset, you need to license it or franchise it or have cross licenses, so on and so forth. And lastly, enforcement. If a third person is going to copy your patent or run away with your invention, you need to go to the court and move them for a court action. Well, very quickly, identification of intellectual property, as I say, towards your left is what the lawyers like us use. We like to use all complicated words. The simpler words are in green color for you. So trademark is nothing but brands. Patents are nothing but inventions. Designs are nothing but aesthetic. Aesthetic as in the shape of the product. For example, you've got a chandelier here. The shape of the chandelier is very unique. It's only for the shape and not how it works. That's called a design. Copyright is in all the art form or books or literary, your computer software program, so on and so forth are copyrights. And then geographical indication, something like Darjeeling tea, which shows where the product has come from. It indicates a geographical origin. It's called a geographical indication. There is a separate statute for that. Other famous geographical indications are probably the Scotch whiskey, which comes from Scotland, or recently we've managed to get Tirupati Laddu also registered, saying that Laddu comes from Tirupati. You know, trade secrets. There is no specific statute for this, because it's something which you are supposed to keep it to your heart. As long as it's a secret, you can keep it as a secret. I'll give you examples as I roll by. Trade secrets and confidential information are more or less the same thing, right? And the last one is the domain name, because the internet is a completely different dimension. It's a completely different world where you can put up all your products and do business as well. So that's also a kind of an intangible property, so I thought I'll put it in there. As you see here, trademarks come from a variety of goods and businesses and services. It can be for a service-related activity also. Towards your left are primarily, the Colgate is a toothpaste which you can touch, for it's a product. Avis is a car rental company, or Airtel is a phone company. So they are also products, but they are service marks, because you don't get anything physically in your hand, but it's a service. Arvind is also a trademark, but it's owned by the government. Suzuki and Maruti, as I say, can both be goods and services. For example, they sell cars and also service cars. So it can be for product and the service for the same mark. Chennai Super Kings is also both product and service mark. They can sell t-shirts and still have a team, and they still value the team. There's nothing. If you look at it, it's not a tangible asset at all. You know, Chennai Super Kings is nothing, but they are valued at some 200 crores or 250 crores, and Dhoni makes home like 10 crores or something. You know. Woolmark and ISI are certification marks where they are given to confirm that there are certain minimal requisite conditions and qualities which have been achieved. ISI is not a privately owned mark. Again, it's a certification mark where the government certifies that your product is good or bad. The last one is the shape mark. Shape mark is nothing but a Coke bottle wherever you go in the world is the same shape. So you can register the shape of the goods both as probably a design and a trademark. So if you initially register a design for a shape of a product, you get protection for the first 15 years. After that, if the product is a super duper hit, you can try and register as a trademark for all times to come as well. The last one is the music mark, where you can also have Britannia's jingle or tingle, which goes like tin 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 or something. You know. So you don't have to know what the mark is. No one has to read it out. You hear it and you know what the product or the services are. The last one is the infamously granted registration for a tennis ball, which smells like a grass. You know. So if you are working on a synthetic court on a tennis or cement court, still if persons want to know that it is of lawn tennis, your tennis ball will smell like grass. So there is a smell mark which was registered for it. Well, quickly moving on to patents, as I always, I've already given you a preemption that I'm not a science graduate, but I do litigate on patents. Patents are granted for 4 basic requirements. One, it has to be inventive step. Inventive step as in you need to have an invention. Unless and until there is an inventive step, you cannot register it. Next is novelty, which was not existing before. Something new and non-existing before. Now, these definitions, as Chandrasekhar was mentioning, are argued on both sides of the law. One can say it is an inventive step, other will say no, it is not an inventive step, but it depends upon facts and circumstances for each case to case, right? So there might be a product already in the market, there might be an improvement on the product, and some person might be claiming a patent only on the improvement. So the improved portion of the product, which is an add-on, can be a separate subject of a patent, though the basic product is the same. For example, if CD-ROMs are already there in the market, and you invent a CD player, which can play only original copyrighted CDs. If there is pirated CD, it will not play. If you buy Sony CD player, I would recommend you buy it because it does not play any pirated software or pirated CDs. That technology is a new patent, though the CD player and the CD have been existing before. So the new technology which they build into the machine might be an add-on to an existing product, so it might be an invention. The last one is utility. Utility means that it is capable of being industrially replicated or it is industrially useful. There can't be a useless product which you create which is not industrially applicable. So for example, I am just giving you an abstract.